KL Water Sports. We're here with the one and only Breadman Edwards. Man, I saw a little scuffle, a little dust up in front of the hotel. Man, tell me just what happened there.
That was light, man. It wasn't no big deal.
Was it just like a matter they saw each other and just boom, it was on site as far as the talking?
I don't know. Like, Caleb's not aggressive towards him. You know what I mean? So you would have to ask David that. But I don't really know. But it was nothing. There was security around, man.
Say again?
There was a lot of security around, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
See, it's easier to talk with security around?
No, I'm not saying that, but like you can't, it's like, it's a controlled environment. It's like, I don't know. You have to ask them, because Caleb, he was pretty cool. He didn't say much.
Is that encouraging for you, right? I mean, maybe his emotions are tempered? I
don't, like, people who think the person who acts the craziest and stuff is like the tougher guy, like that don't really mean that. You know what I mean? Like, some people just don't get triggered by stuff like that. Like, sometimes it's in you, it's not on you. You don't have to act like that to be a tough guy. You know what I mean? So Caleb is fine. He's been through this before.
As far as like in camp and stuff, do you see a difference at all from Caleb from the previous camp with this fight?
No, because Darrell aggravated him too and kept trying to bully him and stuff like that. And he locks in. So I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. He's a professional fighter. He's 30 years old. Like, the fans and casuals get off on that kind of stuff, but nobody ever gets punched in the face. You know what I mean? So it ain't nothing.
I mean, well, last time, right? Like with the Canelo and Caleb did a face-off. There was like a little bit of an altercation there, right? Is there any like fear of that today? Are you going to be the one in the middle of these guys, or for the face-off?
You gotta ask them. If they remain professional. Caleb don't have aggressiveness towards David. You know what I mean? That's him being aggressive towards Caleb, and that'd be Caleb having enough and having to defend himself. But it's not like, if David walked past here, Caleb not gonna bother him. You know what I mean? So you gotta ask them that. Like, if they want to train all this time and not get paid, and go ahead and do something crazy. If you be professional, you go get your check on March 25th. So I really can't speak for what anybody else is gonna say or do.
Just for yourself, seeing that from David, right? Does that tell you anything from his side, just as a trainer, obviously on Caleb's side?
He really wants to fight. He want to fight. He's upset. He wants to hurt Caleb, and he's a aggressive person. You know what I mean? Like, but that's cool. It's boxing. Like, they gonna fight in the ring. He's aggressive. He throws a lot of punches. He wears red. That's all good. Like, we still have to fight. So people think that kind of stuff wins fights. Caleb, this is David's first big pay-per-view fight as the main event. Caleb's been here before. People can bring up the Canelo fight all they want, but he has the experience of going through all of this. So I don't really, we're gonna prepare, we're gonna fight. That's it.
I talked to Abel Sanchez about the fight, David and Caleb, and he was very encouraged on Caleb's side, being that now you're a part of the team. He said that, Breadman Edwards has a great, boxing IQ, is a real student of the game. Is that kind of the response you're getting as far as maybe from the boxing public, as far as like, hey, Caleb's not secret weapon, obviously the secret's out, but you know what I mean, if you're adding a good portion to his game?
Can I tell you something, man? First off, Abel Sanchez is a colleague of mine, and I really respect him. He had my guys in Triple G's camp 2017, so we kind of correspond, back and forth every once in a blue moon. So I really respect him, but I don't get into that because, like, if Caleb loses this fight, people will blame me. That's how boxing works, And I'm not saying Abel particularly, but that's just how boxing works. So, like, I don't let the opinions of others define my opinion of myself. You know what I mean? I know what I bring to the table. I know that I can train, and I know that I got a good fighter. The wins and the losses going to take care of themselves. You know what I mean? I know this is a tough fight, but I don't get into that. We're going to do our best, and I believe my guy going to win. You know what I mean? But the process is more important to me than anything else. If you do what you're supposed to do in camp and in the fight and fight your fight, then everything else takes care of itself. Take care of itself. You know what I mean? Like I don't put Z before A. You know what I mean? We have to go through camp. He has to be locked in. He has to fight the fight that he's supposed to fight. We have to adjust when we're supposed to adjust. Because I've had fights where my guy lost and he fought good fights. I've had fights where my guy won and he fought a bad fight. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm real big on the process, doing the best you could do. And after that, you worry about the win. Because the wins and losses will take care of themselves. If you're an elite talent, and you guys do the best you're supposed to do, you're going to win 95% of the time anyway. It's going to all take care of itself. But it's getting there and doing things and building your character, building your body, building your mind, and getting to the point. That's much more important to me. And the last fight, he did that. I would have been proud of him if he lost to Durrell. And people may not believe me, but I would have, because it was a rough camp. He was off for a year. He just lost to Canelo, as all everybody kept talking about. Him and Durrell had a lot of bad blood. He had the COVID, you know, he had a baby be born, his grandma passed away, had a tough camp. And he started camp out slow. You know, he really wasn't sparring good. You know, it was just like rusty. And he turned it around. About 4 weeks in the camp, man, he started putting work in, man. I mean, he was turning guys' waters off. Boom. I'm not lying to you. You know, he was like the water department. You know, he started putting work in. So I was proud of him. Like, man, like the way you started to the way you ended, like, so it's you know, it's the process for me. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can say it. I like going through the process. I like seeing a guy transform from beginning of camp to the end of camp, to when he peaking out, to when he go in that ring and do what he's supposed to do.
That's awesome. That was awesome kind of breakdown of the process of camp for, yeah. I feel like for maybe most fighters, right? Kind of a lot of fighters going in.
It is.
Right.
It is. It's a process, man. In the beginning of camp. That's why when people brag about sparring, I'm like, man, unless I know what the guy did that day, unless I know if he's training twice a day, unless I know is he cutting weight or what part of camp is in, you gotta be careful with bragging about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we got too many casuals that have influence on boxing. So I never really talk about that because it depends on, a lot goes into that. You know what I mean? So I just like going through the process. And he's a good kid, man. And his work ethic is like, he's very professional, very detailed. You know, he's very meticulous with his approach, man. And I like that. You only get one body and he takes care of his body.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. The confidence you have just tells me that we're going to have a great fight on March 25th, because I know David and them are training like crazy as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. This is a big fight for both guys, man. You know, like let's be honest. This is a big fight. You know, we can't hide from it. It is what it is. It changes everybody's life.
I can't wait. I can't wait for it.